Usually I take about an hour to do this presentation, but I've been told that I just have 10 minutes, but that's the era of AI. Speed is expected out of us, so I'll try my best to, deliver the insights in right 10 minutes. So, let's get started. So first up, what's the core difference between a super cycle and a trend? So there are four major differences which separate a super cycle from a trend. One is the scope of technology implementation. A trend is usually defined by a single technology or a set of technologies, whereas a super cycle is driven by many interconnected technologies. Second up, the longevity of impact. Usually a trend lasts just few months or maybe a year, whereas super cycles last for multiple decades. And let's talk about the most important thing, the impact. The impact of a trend is on our business models, our profitability, on industries. But a super cycle can disrupt all the societies. It has an economy level impact on the world. So the best example of an impact of super cycle would be the industrial revolution. The world was in industrial revolution and India was mostly deprived of that cycle, and that left India behind almost 100 years from the West. So that's the kind of impact super cycles create. So if you miss a super cycle, businesses can be disrupted, profits can be disrupted, incumbents who are leading a space, they can be dethroned. So what you see is the number of papers that get published every year on the research of AI. But you will see that the number is exponentially growing recently. And as we know that commercialization of technology follows the science, this is the super cycle which we have never seen before. So I'll try and create a sense so that you can relate to the impact of this Gen AI super cycle that we are expecting and how massive this impact is. So there is a law of accelerated returns, which says that the technology building gets faster with each iteration because the next cycle is supported by the previous cycle. So that and with Gen AI, these cycles have becoming shorter and shorter. I'll explain you that with some examples. And the change that we are experiencing with Gen AI is exponential. And the problem with exponential change is humans are really bad at understanding the exponential change. So if you guys have your ChatGPT handy or your Gemini handy, we can do a very small science pop-up quiz. Just tell me the distance between, by the time you calculate it, I'll set it up. Tell me the distance between Earth and our close neighbor Moon in feet. You guys can, somebody can pop up and try doing a fact check. So I'll give you an example. Say this stage would be approximately 50 feet if I'm not wrong. And I know if I have to travel from one end of this stage to the other end of this stage, how much time or effort is required. But if the 50 steps are made into a exponential space, that means after each iteration, the change is being doubled. That means it's 2 to the power 50. I would actually not land up outside this room or at the Hooda metro station or at the center of New Delhi. I would actually land up on the moon. And those who were trying to, solve this pop-up quiz can verify. And, these kind of exponential changes and its impact is not easily understood by humans. So another fact about this change is that by the amount of change in Gen AI that we have experienced in last 1 year, just make it 100 times. That would be the amount of impact of the change that will come about in the next 5 years. So that is massive. And you can just let it sink in. I'll try to give some examples and some anecdotes to make it more tangible for you. There is another law called Martek's law, which says that technology, when it enters a super cycle, it starts moving exponentially, but the organizations, they move algorithmically. And there is a huge divide of the gap between the progress of technology and the progress of organizations. Even if the organizations are agile, it's very hard to catch up. And one of the biggest impact that we have seen of such movement is the advent of ChatGPT. Who would have thought that a market monopoly like Google can be, totally dethroned or has an existential crisis by a new startup on the block called OpenAI? And that has happened. In last, the ChatGPT was an experiment. They launched it 18 months back, and they have been able to disrupt the whole business model of Google. And Google, you might be doing Google search. They are re-engineering their whole complete portfolio. So most of us who are in this room, they are not going to be immune about the change that we are going to experience. And people who are worried that, I have tried Gen AI, but it's not so good, just wait. It's going to grow at a pace, which you can see on the slide, that it said that every year we can experience 5x improvement or 10x improvement in the Gen AI models. That means in 5 years, it would be around 3,125 times better. So if you are not liking the outputs of Gen AI work today, and you're saying it will never get there, you need to do a slight mindset correction there. And AI is not going to be a competitive advantage anymore. Like digital is right now not a competitive advantage. It is a hygiene, it is a reality. And AI is going to be the same technology. So if AI is not going to be the competitive advantage, how we are going, the incumbents or the people who are already ahead of this curve, how are they going to maintain their supremacy in this space? So there is a famous saying or a quote by Rishad Tobaccowala. He says that new technology does not fit into the containers of the past. And that's the same mistake that we did with digital. We were trying to repurpose everything that we create for TV. We were trying to post it on YouTube as well as Facebook. And it took us 10 years to learn how to behave natively in the digital environment. The same thing is happening with AI. We are doing AIification of everything in our, in our portfolios and work processes, but we are not right now ready with a totally native AI play. So people who are looking for digital transformation is also not going to be enough, because digital transformation is a periodic change that you bring in your organization. Right now, maybe in 2025, it will become more scary, when we will start feeling the heat of this whole change. We will need a constant regeneration. That means there cannot be a single moment of transformation in our organization, which is periodic, which happens annually or every few years. We need a process where constantly we are regenerating our organizations and becoming ready for the change. Sorry, I'm pacing up because I have a lot of content left to do, but I'll still try to finish in next few minutes. And we have all read this quote that we don't rise to the level of our expectation or aspirations, we fall to the systems that we have. And same is going to happen in the era of AI as well. If we are not going to put up new processes to deal with AI natively, we are going to fall behind. Our aspiration is not going to help us. So this is a standard marketing organization structure or any organization structure where people are divided in various departments, and they're defined inside a box or a hexagon. And it is believed that they have many skills, but only a limited skills could be applied. And they're not allowed to either enter into someone else's lane. They're also asked to stay in their own lane. But there is a whole change coming. There is a new profile that is emerging in the marketing teams of the future, which is the position of a creative generalist. So most of us actually can become a creative journalist. It's just that in the current structure of organizations, we are not allowed to do that. okay? Because all of us have different interests. Most of the people who are here, I know, you know, some people cycle for their hobby, some people are, you know, great authors, great writers. So we have these, you know, fringes of expertise, interest, hobbies that we know, but we don't practice those fringes inside a work environment. But with AI, those hobbies, interest, expertise, and even exposure can actually turn into a superpower that could be applied. Because before AI, whatever took too many years to master and practice, now can just be a bot that can help us. So I'll give you a work example. I'll try to wrap this up in next 2 minutes. I'll give you a work example which was done by a single person in our organization. And you know, you just try to judge the work. It was not possible. And it's already, this work is already 6 months old. This was released in October. So this was India's first Gen AI music video produced during the last World Cup. And this was done by a single person in our team. Of course, there were people who were helping him with the storyboard, but on the execution level, a single person completed the whole, I think around 4 minutes of video in maybe 30 hours straight. You know? And it's not possible, and this guy is not a graphics artist. He's somebody who leads 3D design at our organization. He had interest in prompting, and it gave both one of the most iconic campaigns of the last year, and it gave us a huge profitability and, you know, an ability to compete in the era of AI. And when many people with many skills come together, the total amount of surface area, so I'll skip another example, the total amount of surface area that you can cover is just a lot. So this is another example where 3 people team, 1 from the agency side and 2 people from our side, created this piece of work. Sorry.
Drop. Tilt wine. Start the unexpected.
So what you see on the right was the concept board, which was done in just 24 hours. It was sent to the client. They instantly approved the idea of, you know, bringing the inner spirit out, and we could actually go into production. The amount of, you know, pace that AI is bringing is actually scary as well as exciting. Even we are the practitioners, we stay paranoid. So I'll just do a closing remark. So there is a requirement that, you know, in the era of AI, we reorganize our teams, where we identify how can we empower our team members with different AI tools so that they can go beyond the defined skill set, and their interactivity with various departments totally changes. It will give you speed, agility, and a huge competitive advantage. And the biggest flex in the era of AI is a small team, which is a mighty one. So I'll, you know, close my presentation, though there are still 10 slides left, but we can, you know, take up some concepts offline. Thank you so much.